Hey guys, Omar here with another video on the Fujifilm X-T20, and I had the pleasure of going out today and shooting in my hometown of Hoboken today. I just took it out to, see how it would be to shoot on the street, and it was fantastic. It was super cold today. It was like breezy and cold. My hands were freezing, but I still went out and shot just to get some test images and get a feel for it. So here are some of the pictures. I started off with coffee because I was freezing. Here's some beans I took. This is the camera 18 millimeters at the standard film simulation. And then I zoomed it to 55 on the lens. And this is what it looks like at 55. I also did a crop of this, 100% crop on the Empire State Building. And man, you could read the word MetLife on the left. It's very clear. There was a helicopter up in the sky. I just totally turned it, hit focus, and it found the helicopter, which was great. This was using the flip screen, so you can get very low to the sidewalk, which is fun. This was probably my favorite shot. I used the Acros film simulator, or simulation, and with the red filter, and it gave me a really nice contrasty look. Bird came over, which was great. Locks. Super clear. This was at f4 right here to see how blurry the background gets. But what was most impressive was just details I didn't even notice until zooming in later. The first thing is, if you're thinking of getting the camera, is to think about your hand size. It is a small camera, so that's the first thing I noticed. I mean, I shoot with the 5D Mark IV normally. I'm actually recording this on the 5D Mark IV, but this is the 5D Mark III, which is pretty much the same size. But of course, this is a larger camera, and it just fits in your hand really nice, like you hold it, with like you're holding a baseball bat. So this was it took a little getting used to, and it's really small, so that's the thing. But again, that's what I wanted. If you go to the store, you might want to try the X-T2, which is a little bigger, versus the X-T20, which is smaller. But ergonomics is something you're going to have to think about, how it feels in your hand. So it does feel a little petite. That's the first thing I noticed when I went out shooting with it. The second thing that I noticed is, just like I mentioned in my last video, the little playback, the flip screen issue. It's not really an issue, it's just something to think about. But I totally loved shooting down like this, so I flip the screen up and shoot down if I was going to shoot something like I showed you in the last video. The only thing to think about is what I mentioned, and it kept happening. If the screen is totally up like this, and I'm going to pick focus on something, the eye sensor, again, will pick up my finger. So I found that if I was using the flip screen, even if it was straight like this, if I was using the flip screen and I wanted to focus on something, my preferred eye sensor on would turn off the screen. So the solution to that is just to make sure that the flip screen, if you are trying to pick focus, is sort of bent like that a little bit. And once it's bent like that a little bit, it totally works fine. Okay, next I'll tell you how I set up my straps for the Fuji. The Fuji comes with a little leatherette strap, but I wasn't so crazy about that. On my cameras, I use the optech system, and I like this because I like to shoot between a strap around my neck, and also I like using a wrist strap if I use the 5D Canons. So what I did for the Fuji was I got these little mini ones, and the plan is to get, if you notice, there's like a little mini. The plan is to get a little mini strap so that I could take off the strap anytime I want, but I can also put a wrist strap. Right now I have the Canon wrist strap on there, which is a little big and ridiculous, but I like walking around with the camera like this on my wrist strap. So with the optech strap system, I can have a wrist strap, or I can do over, around the neck kind of thing. So I like that, and they come right off. So that's what I like doing, so that I could have the camera like this. It looks like it has little hands. The other thing I noticed that you're going to have to do is, depending on your level of shooting or how you like to have your buttons, you might want to change some things. So I found that I change ISO a lot when I shoot, or not a lot, but I do like to quickly be able to change ISO, okay? Now, on the X-T20, there is no ISO dial. If you have the X-T2, there's an ISO dial, so you can quickly switch ISO. But what I did for mine was I changed this button right here the AFL button to be my ISO button. So basically when I'm shooting, I can just click that button and my ISOs pop up and I can go up and just pick one. Okay, so it's bam, bam. Before what I had, whoa, I took a picture. Before what I had was I'd have to hit the quick menu, I'd have to move to where the ISO was, and then I'd have to switch. With my Canon, I shoot with back button focus. So I focus, back button focus, and then shoot. I love doing that so I can focus and then just let go of my thumb and I can totally meter with the shutter finger. So I wanted the same thing on the Fuji. I didn't want to half hold the button and focus. So I made this one, the AEL button, my focus. So this is my back button focus, just like my muscle memory on my Canon. And again, this might not work for you. By default, this one some people use for the, you could use this one for the autofocus too. But I found it to be a little awkward as I'm shooting like this, as I hold the camera, to bring my thumb over. So I quickly focus and then you can customize any buttons that you want. So here's how you do that. You go to the menu. Boop. On the menu, you scroll down to the little settings, like the little wrench. Go down to button dial settings. Click to the right. And then here you can pick, the first one is where I did mine. It's called the AEAFL button settings. I'm gonna go to that and then you can kind of pick what you want there. So what I did was I picked, if you scroll down, you can see the buttons here. I made mine the ISO. Okay, so you can pick it, but if you go to the right, look, you can pick anything you want that button to be, which is so great. That's the awesome thing about Fuji. With the Canon, you can customize a little bit, but it's limited, you know, it's definitely limited. So I love that about the camera. So I found that I used that a lot while I was shooting. The next thing that I found I needed to use a lot was to reset my focus point quickly. So again, like we mentioned at the last video, the fastest way to do that is to touch. But I like to shoot with the electronic viewfinder like this. And what happens is sometimes when you're looking through the inside the viewfinder, your autofocus point is over to the right. So what I was doing at first was I would take the camera off my eye, just like this. I'll show you what I was doing. I'll be shooting and the focus point is over to the right. Now what I'm used to using is the little, on the Canon, is a little joystick. So while I'm looking through the eyepiece, I can use the joystick. But I couldn't do that with the X-T20 because there is no joystick for it since it has the touchscreen. If you have the more expensive X-T2, there's a little dial. So when you're looking with your eye, you can move that focus point over. So I found I was taking the camera off, picking the focus point, and then shooting. But again, I'm learning how to use the camera. I figured that the best way to do it while I'm looking through the viewfinder now is to touch this down button, boop, and inside the viewfinder, you'll see this whole thing. And all you do is hit the display back button. So I'll say that again. When I'm looking through the viewfinder and my focus point is not where I want it centered, what I was doing at first was, touching where I wanted and then putting the camera back to my eye. But all you have to do is, if your focus point is somewhere weird, when you look into the viewfinder, you'll see this view, and all you have to do is hit the down, you can either scroll all the way to the middle where you want it, or just hit the display back button and it goes right to where you want it. Bam! So first day of shooting with the Fuji X-T20 was so fun, besides it being freezing. I can't wait to go out some more. I really love the camera, the fact that you could just have it on you all the time without lugging Yo Monster over here. So super, super, super cool. I hope if you have this camera, you're enjoying it so far. Leave a comment below that you have it or are thinking of getting it, and I'll make more videos for you. Okay, thanks.